going on, everybody? It's Chef Grammer with the Albuquerque Journal. This is ABQ Journal Sports Live, our weekly show that is now on Mondays. Some of you guys might be used to it on Tuesdays, and some of those people probably aren't here listening to me say this right now. But we are now a Monday show. Mondays at 1:30 when, for the most part, when the weekly coaches conference is done at UNM. That used to be on Tuesdays, which is why we did the shows then. Now we're doing it on Mondays so we can get the weekly update from Jason Eck and Lobo football. But before that starts, we get to just rely heavily on Sean Reider for all our Lobo football content. Sean, how are you doing?
Good, Grammer. How are you today, man?
I'm doing all right. Busy August for a basketball writer, I guess. I don't know. All kinds of stuff. For the most part, what we need to do is probably just update people on the real basics, and it always starts with the quarterback question. But why don't you, first of all, check this out.
Richie, what's up, man?
There we go. Day off. So there
Let's
you go.
Go. Richie's got Mondays
day off. Yeah, if Mondays are your day off now, we're going to be on Mondays. So hopefully the work schedule lines up now. But there you go. Also, Richie wants to bug Berryman about the breakfast burritos option. I'm good with that.
We can do that for you.
Yeah, we'll do that for you. We'll do that for you for sure.
It's non-stop pestering of the University of New Mexico's athletic director about breakfast burritos. Grammer and I every single day.
He gets paid the big bucks for is answering the tough questions like why aren't there breakfast burritos at University Stadium? We got another one real quick before we start our spiels stuff. USVA guy, hello boys. Did you have a chance to listen to XG Howling from 2 weeks ago with Ryan?
USVA, I have not given it. We could play it on the show. We could get like a live reaction. But I have not done that yet. That is my bad.
Very disappointed. I haven't either. All right. Sean, let's kick things off with giving us an update on Lobo football. 2 weeks away from starting the season, less than 2 weeks.
Just under, yeah,
under 2 weeks away from starting the Lobo football season. Why don't you give us a camp update? And of course, the question everybody wants to know: why don't you give us a general update first, and then start talking quarterbacks in a second?
Yeah, so they practice today at 4 p.m. and then tomorrow is a night practice that will also be a bit of a, I think it's 7:45 to 9:30. That will also be a bit of a season ticket holder event. I think that's when. I'm not sure. Because I don't think they put the details out about the event that they will be, distributing the Jason Eck bobbleheads, which no doubt will be extremely popular. So really 2 practices before Wednesday, which is when they want to have that depth chart kind of finalized. That's when they want to sit down and tell everybody, hey, this is your role on the team. You're going to start, or you're going to rotate in, or you're going to be, with the third string guys, letting everybody know what they're going to be doing. And with 2 practices to go until that kind of deadline, I don't know where this quarterback competition is going to go, frankly. Initially, throughout camp on shows like this, I said I thought it was going to be Moga. I thought he was going to have, for lack of a better term, maybe a little bit of a leash. And I think he had been playing kind of steadily his way up through practice, and then 2 scrimmages, and then I thought it was going to be Lobstein. I wrote that in a story last week, and now I really don't know. We talked to Eck, yesterday, and he said I put the video out on my Twitter if you want to go look at it. But he said, it's a really close competition, very close between James Lobstein, Luke Moga, and Toa Fave. And that was the first time he had discussed the idea of playing multiple quarterbacks in the past, but that was the first time he really kind of came out and said, look, if it's really close, really, really close, between one guy and you start 2 guys and, maybe all 3 guys, they might not name, kind of an official, drive starter. It might be a guy, somebody will start the game, obviously, against Central Michigan, but it might be a situation where, and this is what kind of, hinted at yesterday. It might be a situation where they have 3 guys and they're going to play to all their strengths, and that's how they're going to figure it out. Maybe there are guys actually switching out from drive to drive and all that, as opposed to maybe, a more of a, they played 2 quarterbacks last year, but I never looked at it as, it's really Jack Lane and Lobstein kind of sharing time. Lobstein had very defined kind of short yardage packages for him to work with in the run game. And we could see something much more extensive. I don't know if it's going to be all 3 guys. I don't know if one guy is going to be on the short end of the stick or anything like that, but I don't know where this is going to go. I mean, I did not think this was going to be the case kind of heading into the final couple of days of camp, but they turned the page to Central Michigan on Thursday. So I'm expecting we know something on Wednesday and Thursday of this week.
So what is Lobo fan to take from this? Is this just the fact that they had a pretty defined idea of who their quarterback was going to be, and then he got hurt, and now you just can't make a decision because everybody's doing really good? Is this the old, if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one? Can they not make a decision because nobody has? I mean, I guess to a certain extent, you could spin it in a lot of different ways. Nobody is taking a stranglehold of the job. That doesn't sound like a good thing. Is it possible this is just a case of all kinds of quarterbacks who are all playing wonderful, and they just can't decide between a whole bunch of great options? Or is this good news or bad news, Sean? Tell us, break it to us.
I think to some people, a lot of people, I think it's going to sound more like bad news than anything else. And I don't know if I could ever say anything or I could ever say anything to kind of get them off that. And I don't know if I really disagree. The way I've kind of looked at it, though, is that, you had four guys that were going to, compete for maybe three, but really four guys that were going to compete for the starting quarterback competition. With Lane healthy, it was going to be Lane's job to lose. We're talking about Jack Lane, who I'll add to, didn't get much of a timeline update yesterday, but he did tell Pete Thamel, last week officially that he is questionable for Central Michigan. He is not thrown during camp. I would be really, really surprised if he was cleared to play against Central. And I asked Eck about it yesterday, and he said, hey, we are kind of preparing for the idea that he could miss a large chunk of time and maybe the whole season. And that would be, that would be really kind of something, frankly, off the re-aggravation of the elbow injury he was dealing with last year. But no, the way I look at it, I don't think it's a great thing that one guy hasn't quite taken kind of really kind of taken the reins and put a real stranglehold, as you kind of said, on the job. And that's not to say I think any of the quarterbacks have, in general, I don't think it's, just because of the fact that they're all kind of mid or whatever. Like, I think there's been, scrimmages and days where Toa Fabe has really, asserted himself and played his way back into it. That's what X said after the first scrimmage, and that's what we kind of saw. I think Moga had probably one of his best drives of all of camp. However many practices, 15 or whatever, in the scrimmage last Thursday, and kind of did some really nice things there. And I think he's had days where he's looked good, and he's had days where, it hasn't looked great. And I think Lobstein has been probably the steadiest option out of all of them. But he has been perfect. But he also hasn't been really bad either. So it is, I think, I do think it is probably a less than positive development, because I do think this team's ceiling, I do think it goes down a little bit in the idea that, they are going to be kind of probably switching a lot of guys out, and maybe not with super defined packages. That being said, on that note of how they would switch all the guys out if they were to play multiple guys throughout the entire year, I don't know what that would quite look like yet. I don't think UNM quite knows, frankly, or this coaching staff. So that's just pure speculation on my part, but I don't know. JT's got a question.
Yeah, I got JT in here saying no, a lot of on YouTube. By the way, I don't know that the X comments are coming through yet. I haven't seen any, and I think that's probably because I'm not getting them again.
We got to figure that out, man. We got to figure this out.
Yeah, I can't figure it out. It's a StreamYard issue. StreamYard's the app we use. So know a lot of people rather with a lot of opinions on the quarterback situation who have not been at a practice and who have not seen a single rep to view who they think should be the quarterback. So yeah, basically there's a lot of people who think they know and want to say this or that and haven't actually seen any of these guys play. So they're basing it all on either a highlight film they saw from another school, or basing it on, clips they've read or school names that they've come from and stuff like that. You've been at practices. You're saying you don't think that there is a huge gap in between any of these players right now.
No, I don't think so. And I think I'm the opposite end of the spectrum. And I think I've mentioned this in the show. I've certainly mentioned it to other people that have been to practices. I probably am. I have been to every single practice. I probably am a little bit in my head a little bit about this and taking, certain days and certain stock and all that, taking stock of certain practices and certain days, because, it is kind of a lot to evaluate. But I think, like last year at the quarterback competition, you knew down the stretch that, okay, it's going to be Lane unless something happens. And I don't think anybody has really kind of there's been good stuff. And I think Fave was the guy that pulled himself back in within the competition. And I don't think anybody has really truly separated. I think since that first scrimmage, I think there's been good days and there's been not so great days among the three. But Tuesday, as X said yesterday, is kind of he didn't say it was quite the last chance for those guys to separate, but he said that is probably that's the next kind of good chance for guys to separate. I don't think I'm pretty sure they're not doing like an actual full-on scrimmage, but I think they are going to go live a little bit because they're going a little bit lighter today. So we'll see what that looks like.
Richie's got a comment, then I'll bounce back to another one from JT. But Richie's saying, is this a good thing to basically not let Central Michigan get an idea of who the quarterback's going to be?
I guess you could look at it like that, but I think like they need to know who like the starter or like who the guy they're going with is. I don't know. This has never been a staff that, they didn't put out the depth chart against Michigan last year because Michigan didn't put out a depth chart. They just kind of went, tit for tat there. I don't know. This has never been a staff that's seemed super interested, in my opinion, in terms of, gamesmanship and, trying to hold details until the very last minute. So, no, I don't know. It could be good, but they're a Division I FBS football staff. They're gonna prepare for all the quarterbacks.
We got JT back on saying, I will say that I think whoever is better at the tough situations, third and long, such like that, have to have its play. Should probably get the nod and get a decent run at quarterback. I would say that too. That sort of lends itself to the notion that maybe the high ceiling guy isn't necessarily the guy. If a lower level maybe can't make that huge play guy is the safer and the grittier third down, move the chains kind of guy, maybe not as flashy. It seemed, I don't want to put too much narrative into all that because it could be the same guy, right? The high end big play guy could also be the guy that moves the chains. But it sounds like if that guy was there, the guy who has the best big play potential and the best ability just to move the chains, that guy would have already separated himself for now. So,
well, maybe, and that's also been difficult to kind of, at least evaluating these guys in terms of when they're going against the first team and second team defenses, which are both good units. Like that's also kind of complicated things too, in the sense of you're like, that wasn't great. But they're going against good defense, and I don't know. So it's been tough to kind of get a feel for that.
When the calling card of this year's Lobo team is defense, and you knew that going in, take that into consideration. Maybe it's harder for a quarterback to separate himself when you're going against a pretty good defense. So Richie's got another one in here. Richie on YouTube is saying, also, can the Journal or someone upload the post-practice conference? All I see are snippets and can't find a good consistent spot for the whole thing. I will say this. I'll let Sean answer it fuller than I. Football is a different setup than basketball. Basketball usually does formal, indoor, easier to sort of record press conferences. And that's why UNM even does their own recordings of those. Basketball or football is a little bit tougher, but Sean can shed some light on that.
Yeah, Rob Portnoy does he does go live for those for pretty much every single one because Rob's been there, I think, every time Eck has spoken. I do take the full video. Frankly, I have thought about just putting the entire video out. I probably just should, frankly. So I think the next time I talk to Eck, and because I think you can post like however long videos or whatever with whatever we're paying for Twitter. Like whatever that check mark is, doesn't that give you the right, or do I got to upgrade again? Or okay?
No, I think you can.
Yeah. So Richie, I'll probably just put out the next one in its entirety. But yeah, I don't know. I've been the one that's guilty of putting out a lot of snippets and kind of doing that whole thing.
I agree with this. Larry is saying on YouTube, I don't think most fans realize that Central Michigan is a solid team, much better than like an NMSU team. I do think there is a little bit of a notion like, okay, what does it matter who the quarterback is for this first game? It's only Central Michigan. No. Like this is a good first opponent, a good solid first opponent. This is not, I don't want to discredit even the second game opponent all that much, but this is not Mercyhurst. This is Central Michigan for week one. And I don't know that fans know that a lot. I will say this about Lobo fans, the risk of alienating a whole bunch of them, but I think most understand that sometimes Lobo fans get so passionate about their own team and their own situation. This is not unlike a lot of fan bases, so it's not exclusive to Lobo fan, but sometimes fans get so enamored with their own team they don't think much about the other team unless they're the really big brand name teams, the huge teams. Oh, they can't be that good if they're not, Ohio State and Michigan and a Big Ten team. Well, no, Central Michigan's a good team. And if the Lobos can't get it going because of the quarterback situation, they could lose this game at home.
Yeah, no, Central Michigan, I've seen them rated anywhere from a top 3 to top 5 team in the MAC, and they could probably maybe even be a little bit better than that kind of top 3 range. So, or higher than 3rd in the league, I should say. So yeah, no, they're a good team. They're going to play multiple quarterbacks too. So it could be pretty interesting on that front as well. I do think UNM is a better team talent-wise on paper. But at the same time, they will not be a pushover. They will be not as stout of a test as Michigan was last season, but they will be a pretty stout test.
You don't think Central Michigan's going to be as stout of a test as Michigan was on the road?
No. Nope.
Some hard-hitting, hot takes.
Hard-hitting analysis.
We're
talking directional and non-directional Michigan schools. This is right up my alley. I could go for the next hour.
Oh, shit. My bad, Robert. I don't see it all the time. So
yeah, Rob does do that every single time. So that is all there. I don't know how the audio is on those always, but yeah.
Yeah, I brought up the outdoor thing because sometimes wind on phone recordings can be pretty rough to listen to. So
yeah, pretty tough.
What else we got going on for football? What else do we need to know beyond that quarterback situation? The running back one is a position you broke down recently. Why don't you give us kind of an update on the running back story that you wrote, the position breakdown, where UNM Lobos stand right now at running back?
And we will have more position previews, by the way, out this week. Frankly, things kind of keep happening that kind of keep preventing me from putting a lot of them out or sitting down and putting them together. So I promise, though, we will have more position previews. I will not be writing a quarterback position preview and a specialist position preview probably until next week, frankly, just because this quarterback competition is ongoing. The specialist competition X setup, between the kickers. Right now, Grant Glasgow is kind of he's kind of the front runner right now. He has kicked it quite well, but it's also been partially because Nick Romero has been, who was kind of the front runner heading into camp. He's been out dealing with a sore leg. So that's something to monitor there. Charles Steinkamp and Michael Kern are very much still competing for the starting punter position. So those will probably be pushed to next week, just in the sense that, the quarterbacks, I would like to get a little bit more time maybe to work on that one. And then the specialist, Eck has said that he would not mind letting those competitions kind of go into next week and all that. They don't have to be settled maybe in the way that your starting left tackle or something like that has to be kind of settled. So more position previews to come, but the running backs, it's something. There will be a podcast out later today with me and the great Edge Garcia, who's doing a heck of a job covering UNM football. And we talked about the running backs in that podcast, so I don't want to give all of it away. But I do think Scott Trey is kind of RB1, and I think he's been able to hold on to that. I think he hasn't had a crazy explosive, fall camp, but he is definitely moving faster than he was before. I think not even only faster than when he was dealing with like the high ankle sprain after the UCLA game, one that, he kind of said he rushed back from and really just had to deal with for the rest of the season. He's, in my opinion, he's moving faster than he was during fall camp. So I think he's done a lot of nice things. He very much, he told me, I don't remember if he made in the story, that he does feel that like, hey, a year in the offense, the game is kind of slowed down a little bit. That's what you want to hear from probably your RB1. I asked Eck yesterday if he felt that Kiefer Sibley had kind of, pulled ahead of Cameron Matthews, and he has, and at least in Eck's opinion. And I think he's pretty dead on with that. Kiefer was a guy, North Texas transfer, that was kind of really settling into the system. It took a little bit longer for him to get it than Cameron Matthews and all that, who had a really good spring. But Kiefer has really shown up during the scrimmages. Beyond that, I'll add this too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Darian Bowers, I don't know if he's going to get a whole lot of carries this season, but he's done a nice job during camp. He's really kind of come on a bit more when the pads have come on. He was a guy, freshman year last year, missed all of it with a torn ACL, and he's done some nice things lately. I wanted to kind of shout that out. What's
the sense you get in terms of breakdown of carries and reps? RB1, RB2 gonna split between them and then everybody else get them, or is RB1 gonna get more carries than RB2?
Probably depends a little bit on the game and kind of the style of the game, right? There's certainly some games that probably lend themselves, more of a, more to Scott Trey and kind of that really hard rushing style. And there's probably some games that probably lend themselves a little bit more to Kiefer, who's a guy who I think, at least from my purview, is the best pass catching back. They're not going to throw it to the backs as much as they did with Damon Bankston last year. I would be really shocked that they even kind of approached that level, because Bankston, Eck, and Schleissner have said multiple times, they feel that Bankston is the best pass catching back that they have ever worked with. But no, I would say there is probably a little bit more of a lean to Scott Trey as of now. And then, I think the rest of the carries are kind of split pretty evenly behind Kiefer Sibley and Cameron Matthews. But if I had to pick, maybe one kind of odd man out in that 3-man group, it would probably be Cameron Matthews at this point. So we'll see. Also, Deshaun Buchanan, who was expected to be a part of this running back rotation, he's still doing a foot injury that he suffered during the spring. He is not, he's still very much rehabbing. He is not even kind of halfway participated in practice at this point too. So we have not had a recent update on him. My plan has always been to get an update on him when he is finally back, kind of approaching practice, maybe wearing the non-contact turquoise jersey. But I would probably at this point be pretty shocked or pretty surprised, I should say, if he did make it back in time for Central Michigan.
Your mention of the non-contact turquoise jersey leads me to the question that Bo Hightower has every time I see you post a video of Eck wearing the turquoise visor. Where can they get this turquoise visor, Sean?
I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't cover the merchandising element. I can ask, but
not well. That's for sure.
I don't know. I don't cover the merchandising aspect, and I don't even love covering the jersey aspect. It's laundry. So, yeah.
You don't like covering laundry?
No.
Maybe that's why you got
I don't really like doing laundry.
That is why you got scooped at Media Day on the hard-hitting Tide 1-pod or 2-pod story.
That was a good video.
It was a good video.
Speaking of turquoise and laundry, Jackson Eck has been dealing with an undisclosed, maybe not even an injury, just kind of a boo-boo, like some soreness or
a boo-boo,
some soreness or irritation. But it sounds like he'll probably be back today, and most likely back Tuesday. So today,
Speaking
Tuesday.
Of turquoise and laundry, Jackson Eck has a boo-boo.
Breaking news. I don't think I've said boo-boo since I was maybe 10 years old.
Wow.
Austin Brawley also.
That's the kind of stuff you get on ABQ Journal Sports Live.
Austin Brawley also has a little bit of soreness too. X said they're not concerned about it. They're just letting him sit out. He's a guy that's played a lot of football, fifth-year guy. So that's that. Troy O'Meary and DJ Darling. I don't know if they're going to be back over the next 2 days, but they are non-contact guys. So they are doing some stuff during practice. And they are catching the ball, but they are not obviously really lining up for any relevant team periods, I should say, or anything like that.
All right, so we were talking just a little bit ago about how good Central Michigan is, and Lobo fans need to understand this. I am looking. This is just Vegas Insider. The lines. So the off-season line opened at 12.5. Lobos by 12.5. It is at 11.5 or 10.5, depending on where you get it. 10.5 is actually just at one spot at FanDuel, but it's inching down just a little bit. Not enough to be alarmed, but it probably has at least a little bit something to do with the realization that Central Michigan's a pretty good team, and that UNM doesn't have a quarterback situation settled just yet. The Lobos are still favored because they are the better team. They should be the better team. They should still win this game, but you have to realize, like, this is not Mercyhurst, who, by the way, because while we're at it, I will give you New Mexico State this week opens at Florida State. Florida State is favored by 31.5 points. And next week, New Mexico State hosts that same Mercyhurst team that the Lobos will host. New Mexico State is now favored right now at places that even give a line on a game like that. Right now, New Mexico State's favored by 24.5 up to 26.5. So somewhere in that 25-point range is what the Aggies are favored over Mercyhurst. Again, that's UNM's second opponent, Mercyhurst. That's not their first opponent. Very big difference between those two programs. So, yeah, the Lobos better get right pretty quick and be ready for next week.
Mercyhurst is, of course, going back-to-back against NMSU and UNM, and I would like to I'll probably be writing a story about that once that game week rolls around. I am looking at the Twitter questions right now. The questions on the Twitter feed. Oscar has a question. What's the update with Lane so far? Pretty much just about everything I kind of said earlier. He has not been throwing. I would be surprised at this point if he is available for the Central Michigan game, but his official designation that Eck has kind of put out there, through Pete Thamel, is that he is questionable. But when I asked him yesterday, it did not seem like there was any further timeline update. Nate, my guy, asked me, when is Sean answering the mailbag question? Nate, I think I emailed you back. I'm pretty sure I did. I will go check that, but I'm pretty sure I emailed you back. And, of course, UNM men's basketball managers asked, when are you going to have us on the podcast or the live? Grammer, that's all you.
See, it's 1:57 right now. I mean, how quickly can you guys get on? That said, we will do this. We will get the managers on this year. We will absolutely get them on. In fact, what I think would be a nice little opportunity for one of these shows is whatever combination of the UNM Lobo basketball managers want to come on, all of them if they want, I will send them a link and I will give them the opportunity to preview this season in some way that nobody else can really know, right? Like, yeah, they can tell us who has the best, I don't know, jump shot, who drives the best. But I want to know the real goods. I want to know what player on that team plays the worst music. I want to know what player has the worst, who's the worst at whatever game is the team's game this year. I don't know if there's like one game that they're playing. Obviously, you can go the Call of Duty line of games, or you could go the sports games like the FIFAs and all that. But I want to know who's good and bad. I want the managers to have a no filter, no holds barred, give us all the goods on which players think they're funny and aren't, and which players, I'll come up with some good stuff that has nothing to do with basketball.
I want their preseason watch list for the Tomeo Ponds having the most fun award.
That's right. That's right. Last year
we've had like the Bednarik watch list and the the Outland Trophy watch list. I need that watch list.
Yeah, we did get the preseason goods on Tomeo Ponds last year from Eric Olin when he said Tomeo Ponds is having more fun in college than anybody. And it sounds like Tomeo Ponds loved his college experience here. And by the way, Tomeo Ponds killed it in the I can't remember if it's U20 maybe that he was at, but the U20 Euro Championship for France this summer, this offseason. He killed it. He had one game. I want to say he scored like 32 points in one game. So yeah, Tomeo Ponds is going to have a great season at Abilene Christian. And I want to say, he's going to have a great season. I think he will have a very good season. And I want to say I'm going to follow him, and I'll bet a lot of Lobo fans will love to follow him too. So, all right, we'll get back to some of these other questions. And I will try and figure out why X isn't showing up on the interface I'm on for the show. It must be a StreamYard thing, but I'll try and figure it out. For now, we'll get back to JT on YouTube. Wants to know about the wide receiver room. What does the wide receiver unit look like? Are they improved from last year?
Yeah, I think they are improved, frankly. I think Ziel Smith has taken he's taken a nice step from where he was at this time last year, which is, you would hope so. I mean, he was playing as a true freshman at that point, but he is definitely stronger. I think he's got more confidence and starting to show out. He had a really nice touchdown catch in the end zone in UNM's second scrimmage. Podcast later today with me and Edge, we talked about it. Pretty good deal. Sean Miller was really kind of struggling in the early period of camp at a level that you would not expect a fifth-year guy to struggle to. It turns out he ended up having to get an off-season procedure done on his his left pinky, if I remember correctly. And, that kind of devolved into, initially it was a physical thing, and then it kind of turned into a little bit of a mental thing. He was struggling to catch the ball. I mean, there were some noticeable drops on balls that should have been caught for sure. And over the last week and a half, really, he has really kind of righted the ship and come on strong. I don't know if I've seen, frankly, any drops that should have been balls that he should have been catching. He is really getting after it. So that, to me, if you're a fan, I think that should be really encouraging. Miles Williams and Kader Jope are doing some nice things for sure. I think Williams has had a couple nice days of practice pretty recently. O'Meary is still not available. Of course, he's a non-contact guy for now. That could change over the next couple of days, but we will see what happens there. And then I thought Messiah Mingo had a good day yesterday. He had some pretty good contested catches and was making some stuff happen for sure. Freshmen, of course, there have been days among that freshman group of Messiah Mingo and Dorian Patterson and DJ Darling and Balin George, where they have all kind of looked like, wow, like, one of them at the very least is like, oh my gosh, like, can't believe the play he just made. And there have been other days where they kind of showed themselves a little bit more as freshmen. But I do think at least two of those guys are going to find a way to be in the rotation and contribute, and maybe even more than two. So I do think it is. I think it's improved. I think it. I do really want to see O'Meary practice. Like I do want to get to that point. And I don't know if I'm terribly concerned about the fact that that he hasn't fully practiced to this point. They did kind of the same thing last year with Keegan Johnson, a guy that had also, was an older guy and had played a lot of football. And, they made that kind of conscious decision to, let's be smart with him. Let's not rush him back. And, with the soft tissue thing or whatever. And, we'll get him good to go for the first game. So that's kind of what they're doing right now. But I do think it's a better unit than last year. And, it needs to be a better unit if they are going to reach the kind of lofty goals, double-digit wins, and a Mountain West championship, and all that. And namely, beating Central Michigan first, they will have to be a better unit than it was last year.
That I think you pretty much covered this already. But Philified on X, I'm looking on my phone, did say, who do you think will start the week one at quarterback? Obviously, you addressed that earlier. And then the stat at wide receiver, status O'Meary. O'Meary's? Not O'Meary.
O'Meary.
Sorry.
O'Meary.
So, and then there's a question here. I'll address this and I'll get back to football. Who do you guys think starts at the 4 and the 5 for Olin? I think the starting 5 will be Federico Grani from France. I think the starting 4, if healthy, is going to be Reider Petritis. I think Imran Seljanovic is a guy who has such a high ceiling that he will get his minutes, but I think he has a learning curve that I hope Lobo fans are patient with. He has not played a college game. He has a high ceiling, but he's only done it at a level overseas that we've seen guys come in and need a little bit of time to get up to the college game. He hasn't played a college game. He was injured his entire freshman year at St. John's. He is just now recently, as John Rothstein reported, much to the delight of my follower on X, John Rothstein reported he is a full participant, fully released now. To be clear, he's practiced since he got here. He is now fully released to practice, but he has done practices all summer, just not full contact ones. So I do think Reider Petritis, if healthy, is going to be the starting 4 for the Lobos. I think Federico Grani will be the starting 5. But there's a lot to be determined there because I haven't seen them a lot. I have seen them a few times, but there's still a lot to learn there. So back to football. Sean, Fly2 Sky 505 wants to know, are you going to be doing a football season preview with win-loss predictions? That would be make for some good, interesting writer's block content or an episode. So I am curious, are you going to do a win-loss total sort of show episode, something like that? Is it something you're going to put on your pod? Should we address it next week? Go Mountain West, go across the board? I mean, what do you think? I guess we should have done it this week since Hawaii is playing.
Probably. I just contacted the guest for that first pod, but I was planning on having a longer segment before that isn't quite, hey, welcome to the pod. Let's get our guest in and all that. Just kind of talking about some of the stuff from the end of fall camp, and win-loss predictions do make sense. Yeah, if you don't
do it on Writer's Block, we can do it.
And frankly, it's changed in how I probably would have written it a couple weeks back, at least in some way, or at least maybe not totally changed, but looking at it a little bit differently. I do want to get one Twitter question, two Twitter questions in here from Nate again. On the mailbag questions you did, I just thought you were going to answer mine and others in a published story. It was not a published story, but I did do it on one of the episodes of Reider's Block. It is, I think it was like the first one back after kind of the long layoff, really from the end of last season. So they are all in there. Lobo Snell said, not sure if it's been answered, but what area can we expect to see the biggest improvement on the football team? That is a good question.
Real quick, while you ponder, I am just going to run down real quick. Mountain West week 0. Is it even week 0? It's really just week 1+ is all it is now, right?
Oh, I like that term, week 1+. I like that.
Week 1+. So San Jose State does play. These are just Mountain West games. I'll run through them quick. San Jose State does play Saturday at USC, number 14 USC, that is. Jacksonville State at the newcomer, North Dakota State. We got Hawaii at Stanford. Memphis at UNLV. I like both of those.
Huge game. I'm excited for that one.
I like both Hawaii at Stanford and Memphis at UNLV for setting the tone for this league's sort of off-season, or not off-season, early season, non-conference sort of reputation. If the Mountain West pulls off both of those, I think it looks great for the league, obviously, and it should. Even if the Mountain West just gets one of those two, I think it kind of puts the Mountain West in a really good light because both of those games are names, Memphis and Stanford, both of those opponents. So
if they don't get either, then the league is doomed.
If they don't get neither, why play?
No wonder they have to pay the Pac-12 now. They're so bad at football.
Yeah, why even play beyond this weekend? If
I will also add, Memphis is a name, but we don't know a lot about this Memphis team. Charles Huff has not been super open throughout camp on a lot of stuff. Even to surrounding media in Bluff City. So Memphis could be good. They could be pretty underwhelming. So we'll see. But I do trust Charles Huff. I think he's a good coach.
With that said, are you surprised that UNLV at home is favored by just 5.5? Should it be a touchdown spread?
I think I will say this too. I mean, we're gonna have to figure out. We're gonna have to see what happens with UNLV in terms of Jackson Arnold and Alex Orji. I mean, that competition is apparently still ongoing, and Dan Mullen has really kind of refused to cede any ground on that. He has taken that all the way to the first game. So
I don't know. Want to see if the Bob Davie comparison is good. If the guy that went to the booth and stayed there too long, coming back and got a big name and said, "Look at me, I'm the big timer." But I'm coming back from the broadcast booth and I'm going to fix this stuff. I'm still not convinced he's fixing UNLV football.
I still disagree so much with.
I know you
do. Dan Mullen coached.
I don't know that I fully agree with that.
Had a significantly tougher FBS gig than Notre Dame. He was a better coordinator. Like I don't
know that I fully agree with it, but I'm going to claim it if UNLV has a horrible year.
I guess you can. It would just be flawed. Dan Mullen's a better football coach than Bob Davie. No offense if anybody here really likes Bob Davie, but
so the comparison for those that don't know is like I really think there's something to note that like spending a few years in the broadcast booth at a very like look the change in college athletics while Dan Mullen was in the broadcast booth was pretty big, even though he wasn't in the booth as long as Davie. Well, Davie spent a long time in the booth and then came back to football, and the game changed a little bit. In the time that Mullen was in the booth, you might have been covering football every week and kind of stayed involved, but like you weren't coaching. And I think the game changed so much that we can't just assume you can go to the booth and back into coaching after years and it not be a hiccup of any kind.
They won 10 games last year. They won 10 games. I'm not saying
UNLV wins 10 games every year.
UNLV Twitter trolls jumping on me, but like they won 10 games. Like
UNLV though, they win 10 games every year. That's expected.
Yeah, true, football. Right? Yeah, preeminent Mountain West program. Well, they are preeminent Mountain West program right now. So
to be clear, I don't know that I agree with that comparison. It was a point of discussion I brought up that I thought, if they really tank, I'm going to claim that.
You got me worked up on that show last year. You just got me worked up a little bit right now here too. So,
let me hide this. I
don't know. Probably Lobstein. That's how I put it.
But I interrupted you when I went to the schedule of the games. You were about to answer. You were pondering what is the.
I do think it could be receiver. Just in the sense that they were only playing they were really only playing like Ziel Smith, Keegan Johnson, and Sean Miller pretty reliably. And part of that was like Michael Buckley dealt with an injury, so he was going to be kind of the fourth guy in there. Cater Jope was a guy that also dealt with an injury too, so they were kind of hamstring there. They're going to have more guys available, and I think they're a more versatile room than they were last year. They have more guys that kind of bring different things to the table. If Omiri hits and has kind of the season that, maybe not even like a crazy season, but the season that I think most people are kind of expecting him to have, the kind of target share, and he's delivering on that, then yeah, I think this is going to be a better season it's going to be more improvement for the receivers for sure.
Sean Miller, by the way, SHAWN.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, this is the one I popped up and then deleted real quick, but yeah.
Yeah, Robbie, I would go Lobstein right now as kind of a safe pick, but I really do think, crazy as it is, it really could be it could be one of the others, or it could be that a deal where it's maybe Lobstein is kind of like the base quarterback, and they're bringing in Moga and Fave and alternating those guys. So
maybe we just need to see who files the next lawsuit and who might be available next week, right? What new player, what new fifth-year guy might be on a lawsuit that can be available.
I was disappointed they didn't go after Castellanos or whatever.
Let me ask you this 5 for 5 update. What can you give us on the 5 for 5 players?
Yeah, so of course the NCAA was granted a stay request in Wisney V. Wisney v. Colorado. Wisney v. NCAA, excuse me, which is a lawsuit in Colorado. In late July, Judge Charlotte Sweeney, the judge in that case, granted a preliminary injunction that effectively let all let all class of 2022 high school graduates who played 4 seasons in 4 years and exhausted their eligibility this previous season. Previous season, confusing, sorry. A 5th year of eligibility, but the NCAA is always going to appeal, and they were granted a stay request through the 10th Circuit, pretty sure, if I remember correctly. So now Brett Carhu and Azaria Levels, who were guys that were practicing under that injunction for UNM, they are not practicing right now. They have been at the 2 practices since, but very much as spectators. They are not even kind of really even participating in any sense whatsoever, as if they were maybe like an injured player and stuff like that. But Carhu has a hearing in the 2nd Judicial District Court Wednesday at 2 p.m. To kind of see if he can get a temporary restraining order in play. He has had this lawsuit since mid-July, so he filed it even before the kind of crazy run of players hopping on different lawsuits and stuff like that to try and get TROs that we've seen over the last couple weeks. Levels, I had been told, was a guy that the plan, at least as of Saturday when I was told, was that he would probably, they wanted to add him to the Carhu lawsuit, but that hasn't happened. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not entirely sure on what things are going to look like for Levels. But Carhu, we could get an answer in the next couple of days for sure about whether or not he will be good to go. If he does have the TRO, he will be good to go this season.
I am curious if all schools are not practicing their guys right now, or if some schools are letting them practice and letting this all sort out before game week and just not playing them. Yeah. Or are they not allowed to even practice right when the status is on the NCAA side of things?
Look, I think it is probably a school-to-school basis, but everything I've seen, UNM is very much, they're taking the approach of they're ineligible now. We're not going to practice. Yeah. We're not going to put them out of practice. I want to say I would, instead of mentioning the school and probably getting it wrong, I'll say I did think I saw one school was letting one person practice, but I don't know if that was I'm thinking about a reporter tweeting it about whether he was actually participating in practice or he was just at practice. So I'm not gonna try and say when I probably got it wrong just reading the tweet. But I do think most schools are probably taking the approach of, hey, you're ineligible. We're going to pull you off the field for now and see what kind of happens in terms of a TRO or, what could end up happening with, Well, I mean, the NCAA stay request, I mean, unless you don't have a separate lawsuit, you're not on a separate lawsuit, like you're not going to be good to go for the start of the season. But yes, and the NCAA did, I'll add this one more thing. They did say, like, in one of their statements, hey, no school is going to get punished for playing any of these guys under that injuncton, but now they are ineligible, which to me is an implication that, hey, if you are playing these guys, you're probably going to get some form of punishment.
A lot of this, and without going case by case on all this, a lot of this is going to be fascinating if not settled by the sport I focus on primarily, which is basketball. There are rosters out there that aren't going to have rosters. I mean, LSU being one of them, right? I mean, they are loading up with
there are rosters that are not going to have rosters.
There are rosters who, if the NCAA wins out, there are going to be 6-7 guys on some rosters who are not allowed to play. And, LSU's being one of those. They have so many guys that are involved in lawsuits that if by chance come November when basketball season starts, if that's when this is ruled on, they're going to have to cut half their team. And, football at least has the numbers where it's not like anybody's not going to have a roster to play with.
Yeah.
But there are some teams, Texas Tech and Texas Tech has enough to play without them, but they have several fifth-year guys that they have now signed that are assuming they're going to be eligible. But LSU, I want to say LSU has half of their roster is going to be guys that are pending lawsuits, so it's going to be interesting. JT is in. Anything we need to know that nobody is talking about?
That's a loaded question, JT.
That is.
That is a loaded question. Anything?
Let's assume he means Lobo football. Let's assume he means Lobo football. No skeletons in the closet talk here or anything like that.
Nobody is talking about.
Yeah, is there a position or a player or a? I mean,
I'll say this. I don't, and I kind of touched on it earlier. Like, and I really don't like speculating on injuries and the significance of them. I'm not a doctor. I am not in the team room. I am not qualified to do any of that. But I did ask Eck yesterday about Lane's timeline, and if there was an update, and if they really had been preparing for the possibility that he could miss a chunk of the season, half the season, maybe the entire season, with the idea of getting something a little bit more substantive out of him on that. And he did say, yeah, we are preparing for the idea that he could be out for the year. I don't know how many fans, and that's not like that's not he said that they're preparing for the idea that, like, yeah, he could be out for an elongated timeline. He didn't say that extended timeline. He didn't say for sure, oh yeah, he's going to be out for half the year, the entire year, anything like that. But that is, I do think that is an interesting kind of storyline, in the sense of, this was the leader. And of course, we've all been talking about the quarterbacks, but I think that's one thing that probably hasn't been emphasized enough, that idea that, hey, maybe it's more significant than we all kind of knew. On a more positive note, I'll say this, and I think I've written it a little bit, but I probably haven't emphasized it on shows and all that. Yes, I think losing Carhu would stink for UNM. I think that's a guy that you want to have around. I think they'll be fine rushing the passer, even if they don't have him. I think Darren Agu has really grown even from the spring in terms of rushing the passer.
The British Bulldog.
The British Bulldog. You can see I talked to him the other day. I did not mention the British Bulldog, by the way. He did have a great anecdote. It'll be in a story later this week about when he was stuck in London on visa issues last summer. He had he had 2 trees in a park near his house. One tree was the pass rush tree that he would work pass rush moves on, and the other tree was the run defense tree, both next to each other. Said his palms got incredibly swollen that summer going up against trees and all that. And I think that work is kind of showing up for him, and he thinks he's going to do a lot better than he was last year.
The Between Two Ferns workout.
What's up?
The Between Two Ferns workout.
Yes. Without Carhu, you're going to see Albert Tuakulu. He's going to be the other starting end. And that's what we've seen in practice. That's what kind of makes sense there. I think Tuakulu has had a good camp, building on a spring that I liked from him. I kind of worried a little bit over the summer. Am I talking too much about a JUCO transfer? Because JUCO transfers sometimes can be a little bit hit or miss. And I think he's going to be a guy that's productive in this defense, whether there is Carhu or not. I think the interior has done some nice things in terms of bringing a little bit of a rush there too. There have been days where they put Brian Booker and Jalen McIver in the middle, and it has looked awfully hard to stop. they're doing some nice things on that front. So, yeah.
Larry wants to know if I would consider Imran similar to Tameo Pond's situation, where all fans see as an extremely talented player in warmups. I think they will see that, but I will tell you, Imran's a guy that I think his ceiling is huge. I think he is a more polished all around player than Tameo Pond. Tameo Pond's issue with getting playing time last year was a lot more on the defensive end. I don't think Imran's going to have that issue. I think Imran is a high ceiling player that Lobo fans will probably have some of those same, to your question, instincts, like why isn't he playing more? And I think the situation here has a lot more to do with just getting up to speed with the college game and getting those game reps, as opposed to just not being as good a defender that maybe Tameo struggled at last year. I don't think Imran's going to struggle at defense. I think he's going to be just fine. Next question in, JT on YouTube. If Lobo football and Lobo basketball both have really, really good years, borderline CFP team, second week NCAA tournament team, what would the next few years look like for UNM athletics?
Second weekend NCAA tournament. I mean, that's the headline there. Like,
yeah, I mean, if they're a second weekend NCAA tournament team and a borderline CFP team, talking, a bowl game, obviously a bowl game, and just a bowl game even for football, I think is what we're talking about for football in the second year in a row would be nice. But obviously they have their sights set higher. I would tell you that this next wave of college athletics TV movement, 1 year of that would do an awful lot, because UNM is already close to being considered by a lot of people, like, why weren't they already involved in the Pac-12 exodus and all those teams that left. And while I would tell you this year, the Pac-12 and the Mountain West don't look that different to me in football. It is what it is. The Pac-12 has the schools that invest more overall. They have the better starting point for being a better conference over the next 5 to 10 years, if nothing else changes. But for this year, I'm telling you, I don't think football's any different. If not, I might side with top heavy anyway, more bowl type teams in the Mountain West. I don't know if the bottom is as bad in the pack in football, but I think there's, if you want to go just like 4 deep, top 4 teams in each conference head to head, Mountain West might be better.
You would be looking at Boise State, San Diego State,
Utah State,
Fresno State, Texas State. Texas State's got some buzz. I would say that top 4, and then UNLV, New Mexico.
Yeah, not Utah State, by the way. Sorry.
UNLV, New Mexico. Well, don't count Bronco out.
I don't think it's top 4. Those other 4 I think are right. Fresno State and Texas State.
UNLV, New Mexico, Hawaii, and North Dakota State, and or not an and because it's only 4. North Dakota State or maybe Air Force. If things get really going there. Texas State, if they're the 4th team in the Pac-12, maybe they have a little bit of an edge over a North Dakota State or an Air Force. But I don't feel like the top 3 is certainly like worlds apart from each other.
Sean, are you getting your Kochek bobblehead?
I will not be getting a Kochek bobblehead, but I will be there and furiously taking notes and charting every quarterback throw and all that, tweeting.
I'm doing my bobblehead impression.
Looks good. I like it.
That's what you get on a show like this, Sean. That's what you get.
What you get.
That's all the questions I have on there. I do have one more. Philified is 505 is back on X, asking, I would like to see Moga start and Lobstein stay in his role that he had last season, with maybe a few more snaps on top of that. There you go. It's a possibility, I guess.
I think it is a possibility. And I haven't really posed the question, but I have kind of wondered to myself, like, is it a better route to let Moga and Fave maybe just kind of run the show? It's one of them, and then you still have what is going on there? What is going on over there?
I was having some seat issues.
You did not break eye contact with the camera or the
there we go. I was having some seat lever issues.
Kind of impressive. But yeah, like, I mean, is that the best way to go about it? Where you do have these ultra reliable Lobstein, short distance packages, got to have it packages. But I don't know. I think they are all three are still very much in it. That is what we've been told, and that is kind of what we have seen to this point.
I'm going to ask you, actually, what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to share a screen. I'm going to click on this. Watch this. This is going to be great. A little grammar vision going on here.
Grammar vision. Wow, I can read it so clearly.
Let me get off this.
I can read it just so clearly.
No, I'll read it to you. These are the 4 Mountain West games. This is ESPN, just so you know. These are the 4 Mountain West games that are being played in this week 1+ or 1-0, 1/2, 0.5. I don't know. I want to ask you the best chance for a Mountain West win, which I think is obviously, if you just go by point spread, North Dakota State over Jacksonville State. But what is the best path to a good Mountain West week 1 here? Looking at, keeping in mind those spreads.
San Jose UNLV defends home turf and beats Memphis.
Yeah, I think that's right. UNLV has to defend home turf. If they lose at home to Memphis, that's a really bad start for the league.
North Dakota State defends home turf, beats Jacksonville State.
I don't know what you can get out of that game, by the way. The name Jacksonville State probably isn't going to wow a whole lot of people around the country. I think some people might even wonder if Jacksonville State's an FCS or an FBS.
They've been good the last couple of years. I mean, you just need to know ball. Frankly, that's it. You just need to know ball.
So I do think that North Dakota State and UNLV both have to win at home for the league to have a good first week impression nationally. But I don't know if they have to cover. Like, those could both be close games.
I don't know if they have to cover, but I think they just got to win. And then it'll be kind of a cherry on top if UNLV did blow out Memphis or North Dakota State really did kind of lay the smackdown on Jacksonville State. I don't know if Hawaii has to win to make it a successful week for the Mountain West. I do think I think it would be a little troubling for the league if they did get embarrassed by Stanford. Kind of turning the page, new era for Stanford football, new coach, all that. I don't think it would be a good sign if they got embarrassed by Davis Warren. No offense to him, great story, but that wouldn't be great.
I want to offend Davis Warren.
If it was like a close game, that really kind of went down and Stanford just pulled it out at home, pretty late. I don't think there's any shame that for Hawaii, but I do think they could win that game. Hawaii could, but I just don't. I just think you want to keep that close. And then San Jose State, God love them. I am high on USC this year. I think USC is going to be pretty good. I am betting on Lincoln Riley, which I have not normally done, at least in his USC tenure. So I think USC is probably going to take them.
Yeah, and when you look at a 38.5 point spread, like that's going to be a pick the final score for USC kind of game where they could be putting in backups late, but like letting the backups air it out they're still looking at some people like an extended camp kind of thing. So yeah, USC is a legitimate top 15-ish team. Where did you have them? Do you recall?
Let me take a look.
So the USC though does have, you can say they have national title aspirations because if you're in that range, you're in the CFP conversation. So yeah, USC's at that level and legitimately so.
They were not in my top 10, but they were 12. They were in my top 12. They were a college football playoff team based off that. So yeah, I think best case scenario is 3-1 and maybe one of the two UNLV or North Dakota State really kind of lays it down on on a Jacksonville State or a Memphis. And those are the home games, so that should be expected. Grammar, bet with Grammar.
Yeah, is this going to be a fade Grammar season or Jeff's always right?
Promo code bet with Grammar. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I will tell you that I'm going to go with USC to pick their score on that game. All right, Fly 2 Sky 505. I don't know. Every time I read Fly 2 Sky 505's name, I have to break it down.
It does read like that. I like it.
Fly 2 Sky 505. Any thoughts on Brandon Mason Jr.'s decision? There were a few disappointed Lobo fans yesterday. There's plenty of disappointed Lobo fans, and there should be because a local kid didn't stay. But he got offered a much better offer in terms of both playing time and money, and he does know that coaching staff, and the relationship with Isaac Chu and Richard Pitino is real. I will tell you, he would have loved to have stayed home. UNM was not a token finalist. UNM was a place he would have loved to have been. It just didn't work out. There was some chatter that went way overboard, but does not just because I know Brandon Mason, but goes overboard with any local kid. But this is anywhere really around the country. They don't pick your school, you bash the kid. It's ridiculous. But I won't get into that too much, other than to say Brandon Mason Jr. is a really good high school player, and UNM had a really good chance at him, and they were in the mix, and Xavier got him. Xavier did offer a better opportunity in a lot of ways than did UNM. So there you go. There has not been a UNM Lobo men's basketball scholarship player not offered a scholarship. I think there have been some players put on scholarship, or like some walk-ons put on scholarship when they had one, but there's not been a UNM Lobo men's basketball scholarship player in over a decade. The last one, in fact, and then we're pushing like 12, 13 years, I think, was Cullen Neal, and Cullen Neal was the coach's son. So it would have been Bryce Alford had Alford stayed. So UNM Lobos not getting the local talent isn't new, and there's a lot of things that go into that. I don't know how often there has been a legitimate UNM level Division I talent here in Albuquerque. A lot of people would argue there have been several, and UNM just ignored them. I don't think UNM has ignored a lot of them, but you if you want to make the argument, they don't push for them as hard as maybe they should. And should you push a little harder for a local guy and get some local talent on the roster? Some would argue yes. And so anyway, it's been over a decade since UNM's had a local guy on scholarship, and it is an interesting storyline to say the least. So my thoughts are it's great. Yeah. I mean, my thoughts are Brandon Mason's got an excellent opportunity for himself, and he also has this year at Link Academy to play, and then he has 5 college years based on the current rules. There is absolutely no reason why Lobo fans, some of which have gotten pretty nasty, should be discrediting a guy whose family still lives here, who has 2 younger brothers, one of which an 8th grader is going to be every bit as much the prospect as Brandon Mason Jr. To be bashing the coach of a local prep school, the dad, Brandon Mason Sr., and Brandon Mason Jr. for this decision. Pretty short-sighted, pretty fan reaction, kind of emotional reaction, silliness, especially considering the movement in both coaching staffs and player movement. Like, things happen all the time. Lobo fan, calm down a little bit. So the next part of this is the Dent thing is hilarious. It feels like he really wants to hang it up, but teams like LSU and Texas Tech will not let him.
Get back out there. Get out there, man.
I am telling you, man, when it gets out there, and Donovan and I have not had to talk directly, so I'm not going to report the number that I've been told from people I trust. But if the number ever gets out there, there is nobody in their right mind who would question why Donovan Dent is playing at LSU this year for half of what he's getting. I don't think anybody would have questioned it. Yeah. And no, I'm sorry to anybody who thinks UNM could have made it happen. I don't. I get that there is a conversation and a scenario where Donovan Dent may have come to UNM a month ago before anybody else knew he was available and could have got a much cheaper rate. And but the second Gonzaga, Texas Tech, LSU found out he was available, their offers didn't just beat UNM's even potential offer, if there would have been one, and there wasn't. It wasn't even close, guys. It wasn't even close. I'm telling you, this number is so much more than any Lobo coach has ever made in a year. So much more than any Lobo basketball or football coach has ever made in 1 year. Yeah. There's no way UNM could have afforded Donovan Dent, and there's no way Donovan Dent wouldn't get his, even if he wasn't in shape. But he's been playing all summer. Even if he wasn't in shape, there's no way he wouldn't have gotten in shape to go play 1 more year at the number I believe he's getting from LSU. So yeah, I think you're right though. Texas Tech and LSU made it pretty hard on him to sit out, to call it a career. Sean, that's all the questions I have. Do you see anything else on your X?
I have one more on
You
on
go
the
one.
X.
Yeah, I got one
What?
more. I got one more here now too, but you go first.
Adam Lopez, good friend, loyal listener.
That's right.
Y'all not being one of the top 100 college football personalities is a travesty. I'm shocked they're not watching this show. Let me pull that graphic up again because I forgot who put it out there.
It was PM. Pardon my take.
Oh, it was like PMT takes. PMT. I think it was PMT takes.
Let's see where it is here.
What?
If I could track it down here.
Oh yeah, it was PMT stats. Excuse me.
PMT stats.
Their top 5 was Tom Fornelli, of course, of CBS Sports and the Cover 3 podcast, of which I listen to the Cover 3 podcast a lot. Josh Pate, who visited Albuquerque this summer. Nicole Auerbach, who I think is with NBC Sports right now. NBC Sports.
Yes.
God, Shahan. I don't know how to pronounce the last name, but he does a nice job at CBS. And Cole Kublik, who I'm a big fan of his weekly SEC breakdowns. Those are always fun to go through.
If you want to look at like maybe the back end of this, where maybe
we would have stuck in,
or maybe a local beat writer combination, show type might be able to sneak in. We're looking at let's see the bottom 5 from 100 up to 95 or 96. Let's see. Well, Paul Feinbaum's number 96.
That's way too low. That's
way. Look, you may not like Paul
low.
Feinbaum, but he's an influential guy in college football.
Yeah, that's incredibly. No offense to No Context College Football, like the Twitter account, that should not be higher than Paul Feinbaum.
No. Takeo Spikes is in that range. Jordan Rogers, interesting. Trevor Maddich, Sean McDonough, and Ben Hartstock. Why can't I think of who that is? Ben Hartstock.
I don't know. Bud Elliott. Bud should be a top 15 guy. I'm a little confused there.
All right.
Little confused, not gonna lie. McAfee 17.
Yeah.
Andy Staples 34. That's the top 25 guy in my opinion.
Reddit CFB number 62. Like just on sheer numbers of people that kind of follow them and on Reddit as well, but also on other socials like Reddit seems like they should be up there. I don't know that they put out. Well, anyway, they're probably properly.
Nick Saban 74. Hey man, you were the best coach in the game forever, but now you are the 74th.
How do you even pick a number for Nick
Saban? College football media personality.
Stuck between Lucy Roden and Jenny Dell.
Okay. Lucy and Jenny are both great. Followed Lucy for a long time, but
how is PMT stats if they're associated in any way with PMT, which I assume they are since their logo is that? How are they putting? Where did it go now? Dave Portnoy at 68? Man,
Portnoy's he's a college guy in terms of Michigan, but like he's not a big college guy.
I just think you still got to put him as a boss man.
You know what? Hand up as a longtime Pick'em listener. He is a college guy. Excuse me. He very much is a college guy. That was a bad knee-jerk reaction on my part. Adam, I don't know what we got to do, but to get on, but yeah.
Ryan is asking. Actually, we're covered up quite a bit by Ryan's.
Yeah, we gotta stand up.
Ooh, I at least bumped it up a little bit because I had the different view on. But okay, Ryan's asking. I get that Oklahoma win isn't a realistic possibility, but what would that result have to look like? Where on the field would the win have to come from based strength and weakness for both squads? Okay, yeah. What does UNM got to do to make that Oklahoma game matter?
Yeah, I think you got to play a clean game, first of all. I mean, that's the boring checkpoint and all that, or check box that you check. But, you can't afford to I don't know if you can live with even, one turnover in a game like that because of who they are playing that spot. I think they got to defend the run well in particular, and they're going to have to – what they have kind of coming back on that D-line, it's going to be a big test. But if they can create a clean pocket for somebody – that will be a huge boost. And then John Mateer, look, I'm not even saying this in the whole UNM has beaten John Mateer before, like that kind of thing. I am probably a little bit lower on John Mateer than maybe some of the people on that top 100 college football media personalities list.
Wow, calling them out.
Probably we all have opinions. They're going to play the games, and we're going to figure out for real. Probably a little bit lower. And I do think there is a possibility that maybe they could let some pressure kind of get home on Mateer and maybe not rattle him, but put him in a spot where maybe he isn't making the best throws. And I think that is a game that or making the best decisions, I should say. So I think that is a game where, they will need some form of kind of pass rush. They're going to have to, and Mateer can run as well. So they're going to have to corral him as well. And he is a lot bigger than he was last season. So it's going to be probably a little bit of more muscular, kind of rocked up than he was. So probably a bit more of a task to corral him and get him on the ground and all that as well. But yeah, those are kind of the quick things that kind of come to mind for me in terms of this Oklahoma team that we kind of, I think, have a pretty good feel for, but at the same time hasn't played a game yet.
I'm more mad that Xavier gets everything UNM had, not mad at Pitino. What's he going to do? Not recruit the guy? Or Mason feels like a great opportunity for him. Just FOMO for UNM fans. Yeah.
Go on.
No, yeah, I agree.
In that vein, Joe on Twitter responded to us and said, "Does Jack Pitino ever return as UNM basketball coach, having been a ball boy, sort of like a Berryman situation?"
Could be, man. Could be.
Do you think Jack Pitino's going into coaching? Is that
what Pitino coaches in the pit first? Rick, Richard, or Jack?
Wow.
Put it on the poll. I don't know who I said that to.
I don't know what that.
Like Sky 505. Jeff, I agree. Thank you. I'll just leave it at that. All right. It's very childish for people to be bashing the kid for his decision. Not a good look for Lobo Nation. By the way, you're saying the YouTube handle correctly. Thank you. 52 Sky 505. We got, at least we aren't losing recruits to Xavier football, as far as I know.
That would be a problem if they're losing recruits to Xavier football.
That's a very good point.
That would be a problem for those kids because they are getting scammed.
One more.
Are Clay Martineau, and Jackson Eck playing together? Well, Eck has been out for the last handful of practices. I think you're still going to see. I think it's still going to be Jackson Eck and Mercury Swaim as kind of your starting two linebackers there. I don't think it's a far off possibility though that maybe they could end the season where it is Martineau and Eck playing together. But Martineau is kind of that top reserve linebacker right now. He has been getting a lot of run with the ones. I think right now though, I think he's still just kind of that top reserve linebacker, and he's had a really good camp. Like he has flashed a lot, and I think he is going to kind of start in that posse, that dime package for them as one of the guys coming off the edge. He has been really, really impressive in a lot of pass rushing situations. It hasn't been like every single day, but there have been days where it has absolutely caught my eye. But right now it is it's Eck and Swaim, and that's what I'm expecting for game one. But I would be surprised again if they were not finding ways to get Martineau out on the field, because he is quite the athletic specimen. He's pretty impressive to watch at times.
Sean, that's all I got.
Wow. Let me do one last check on the Twitter. But
I got it up on my screen now too. I don't see another one after Joe.
Yeah, I don't see anything either. Lobo Snell did say this. Oh, I don't know if you purposely didn't want to answer this. Jeff, blink twice if it's $4 million plus for Dent.
Oh yeah. Yes, blink twice. Over the 4. I'll leave it there. I won't do any more blink answers, but over the 4, I'll say yes to. So there. All right. Sean, next time we do this show, we should have some a little more concrete. We'll have a depth chart or 2 deep, but I don't know if it's going to mean anything for week 1, but we'll have a 2 deep. We'll have
we might not have a 2 deep. I don't know if CMU's putting out a 2 deep themselves, so we might not have that, but we will have a pretty clear idea. And certainly, I don't think we're going to be having an extra long preamble into the show about me kind of going off about, I don't know who's going to start at quarterback and all that as well, or what's going on there.
JT's telling you Jack Lane's going to be the shocking QB1.
It would be so. I'll tell you this. I think everybody has had like dreams at some point in their life about, hey, you're in college or you're in high school. And, oh, no, there's a test you forgot to study for, and you sit down and you're taking the test. And, oh, no, I didn't do this. My version of that for the last month has been I've had the dream once where I show up to practice like an hour late because I was doing something else, and Lane is there throwing, and everybody else just beat me on that. So that has been that's been my.
As a result, Sean has showed up to every practice 2 hours early.
I'm camped out. That has been my quasi, not nightmare, but it's camp, man. You're in it every single day. So that was kind of the dream I had there. But no, next time we talk on this show in this format, it'll be game week, and I'm really excited to finally get to the real games. We'll have certainly more clarity, not only on the quarterbacks, but what's going on with Carhu and Levels.
Sean doesn't even get
Kendall Williams of the Journal.
Sean will take that because he knows of Kendall Williams this much. Kendall Williams was a fantastic player. So there you go, Sean. Take it for that. I think what he may be referencing is Sean. Kendall Williams once overslept and got benched for a half in a game the Lobos lost, their first game of the season. I think they were 12-0 and ranked, and lost at home in the pit to South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits. And
what year was that?
That would have been 2012-13 season. So offers last year.
Right before? Was that your first year on the beat or right before?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was my first year. So 12-13 season. And they were 11 or 12-0 and ranked. And first loss came at home on a game that Kendall Williams got benched as a starter. He played, but he got benched and had to do with an alarm clock.
A young Grammer asking, hey, so
Coach,
how much did he oversleep by?
Coach, I got 8 questions to start this presser off with. Green chili. Oh. So.
Right. So a lot of stuff coming. I will have more position previews out this week. More stories. Well, we are very much in the thick of it now. There's always like a day in camp where you kind of wake up and you're like, because start of camp can be pretty laid back sometimes. You're getting a feel for a lot of stuff. And then there's a day that kind of comes and you're like, yeah, we're basically in the season now. And that came for me last week. So
we're kind of getting an insight. We're getting some insight into Sean's life right now. He dreams about the quarterback competition.
I don't have a functioning car at the moment.
He doesn't. This guy's he's living a miserable existence right now. Is what he's doing. And
not miserable. It's been good.
Game one hasn't even hit. He's already having work panic dreams. What do you mean you named a quarterback?
Programming note 2. I will be. I'll have some stuff coming out this weekend, but I will be mostly taking a lot of this weekend off before the season. So might not be super active on X or anything like that. But one last kind of I will be active on X. I don't know who I'm kidding. I'm going to be.
We'll see about that. I got to talk to your boss.
Yeah, I do got to talk to the sports editor of the Albuquerque Journal
with the new La Bamba
mandate.
The La Bamba mandate in the office for the TV that's never worked. So, all right, Sean. Everybody, appreciate you guys for being here. Sean, appreciate you for being here, not being an hour late.
Didn't
oversleep. So, next week. We are on Mondays now. Mondays at 1:30. We will probably have a guest again. I say probably because I think we're going to try and have a guest we're going to do 90-minute shows roughly and trying to at least knock about 30 minutes of that off with a guest every week. But don't have one lined up for next week just yet. And next week, because it is week 1, game 1, all that stuff, we may not need one necessarily, but we are trying to have a guest every week. So
yes,
we shall see. Sean, thanks for being here. Everybody out there, thank you for being there. And anything interesting going on with any Bronco Beck Dampier?
Jason Batico in the Salt Lake Tribune had a good feature on Devin Dampier in the Salt Lake Tribune, which is free to read now. So anybody can go read it. That I read on, Friday. It just kind of talked about, the decision of him coming back to Utah, being kind of heartbroken about Beck leaving for Michigan. Interesting. I really have not been making an effort to follow a whole lot of Utah State stuff because they're not in the conference anymore.
What?
And a lot hasn't really come out because they're, as you could maybe imagine, they're a little restrictive there in terms of media and all that. But Beck, I'll be following along on Utah State, Utah, and Michigan. But Beck, I'm very interested to watch him run this Michigan offense and see what he does there because I think that's going to be a big upgrade of what they had last year. Two more last ones from the Twitter before we go. Lobo Snell said the Nate Wolters game. I believe that's in reference to the also the Kendall Williams bedhead game. And Sebastian Noel, what's up, Sebastian? Said, then who is Sean's Chris Perez, making sure he is making it to class and practice, etc. Did he have like a designated player, really like making sure he was getting there?
Chris Perez was a walk-on on that team, and he had a lot of responsibilities on that team, and one of them might have been Kendall. Dude, come on, get up!
You gotta go.
So, Chris Perez of Corona Centennial fame, same as Donovan Dent. They both played at the same high school, not at the same time, but same high school. Bronco, not talkative with media, so out of character.
Yeah, that was what I was kind of hinting at. I don't think they have. I think he's talked with the media, but I don't think they've opened. I don't think they've opened like fall camp at all. I think they had spring ball a teensy bit open. Maybe it was entirely closed, but I don't know. I lived through it once, and
we've now heard from Sean today. Teensy, boo boo.
Really using my full vocabulary today.
I appreciate it. It is a family show.
Yeah.
Next week, everybody. See you next Monday. Sean, thanks for being on. Everybody, thanks for all the questions as always. I will try and get X back on my feed so we can get them onto the screen. Right now, it looks like StreamYard is having an issue with X comments, and I was looking that up during the show. But anyway, thanks for being here, everybody. Next week, abqjournal.com is where you can follow all our coverage. And James Yotis, by the way, is killing it. Had his first week of high school football. We won't right now, but maybe next week we can give it a couple updates on a couple of the college level local high school guys. I will tell you, Evan Nanez for Cleveland, who actually goes to Albuquerque Prep, but because they don't have football, he's allowed to play football at an NMAA school. So the best football player in the state, in my mind, without really knowing if that's true or not, but I know he's really good. Evan Nanez had a great game as a receiver at Cleveland, and he has been offered by the UNM Lobos. So there you go. There's my update.
Thank you again, Grammer, and thank you to everybody that I say it every show, and I really mean it today, considering no guests. Thank you to everybody who tuned in and asked questions and produced our show for us. We appreciate that. So
Alamogordo Tigers are 1-0. Until next week, everybody.